I'm here to protect her and catch her. I know that she's got the passion and she has the will.
As a nurse, not having any control over my own schedule when I worked in hospitals and long-term care facilities was a big thing. I hated working on holidays when I needed to take vacation or if my kids were sick. I had no choice in terms of when I could, come into work or, take off, what have you. And I wanted to be able to work with nurses that wanted some control over their own life and their own schedule, their own work life, shall I say.
Let's add to that from a wealth building perspective, right? We recognize it's an opportunity to build that win-win-win, to Susan's point, for the nurses in regards to quality customer service, and for our household and our goals in life, right? In regards to reaping the benefits of how we earn that through the agency. I'm a Fortune 300 corporate director, and we found ourselves in a position where we're presently single income. We have outsized goals for ourselves in regards to travel and living life well. Susan found herself in a period of transition with regards to having recently wrapped up a COVID-based business where she used to broker PPE. And, in the absence of that demand, this was a season of reflection and consideration for what's next.
Initially, I went into the PPE brokering because there was such a high demand during COVID. A lot of facilities and doctor's offices and so on were not able to get the necessary PPE that they needed. And after things settled down and, people started getting vaccinated, things started to go back to normal in that PPE space. So for me, it sort of delegated itself that because the brokering was not needed anymore.
So what happened was when demand was high and the chaos was present in the market, you could arbitrage. And that's why the brokers were there and helped. But now it's commoditized. And so
it was actually more commoditized then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So now what happens is you're throwing good time after bad money, in effect. So, that's part of bringing back to staffing agency. That's part of the consideration is where's a smart, productive, leveraged use of time.
Seeing the video with Nicole and Myron, because I had when I worked in the hospital years ago, I would notice that the staffing office, there was one particular person that worked in the staffing office that I knew quite well when I was in a long-term care facility, and she worked, as they would say, like a dog, trying to keep positions filled during the week, during holidays, during weekends, and she amassed a lot of overtime just being able to do that. But I didn't put it together in terms of, from a business perspective. This was years ago. But when I heard Myron and Nicole talking about how good of a business this was because of the demand, the need for supplemental staffing, just kind of clicked in my head. Like, wow, that's definitely something that can generate a lot of income, just never thought about it back then. And the interesting thing about nursing, though, is that there's so many ways you can monetize it. There's so many different areas. And I've worked in a lot of the different areas, but that was not one of them, but it made sense. And it clicked, and I told Chris about it. And he saw the video as well. Well, legacy for me means to not just be able to leave something for our children, our family. True legacy to me is when my grandchildren don't have to worry about their income and how they're going to maintain their lives, because it's legacy is true wealth to me is that type of legacy. What do you think?
The goal is to acquire wealth and then diversify. And aspects of that diversified wealth will include going concerns that have both created it, but it can also be handed off, as something that lives beyond us. As we look after and take care of our family, it also gives us opportunity to step back and consider how can we help those causes that we feel strongly about, right? And be philanthropic and giving and generous in other ways. So there's a lot of different avenues to consider after having earned it.
Well, let me take it from a personal standpoint for me. I was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's last year. I mentioned this on our coaching calls. And I come from a family where my dad and my grandmother both had Parkinson's as well. And just looking at the way the healthcare system handles research and approval of medication for various health challenges is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me that from the time my grandmother developed Parkinson's in her 50s, and she's now passed on, and they're still using the same treatments because there are no cures for Parkinson. They're using the same old treatments that they used when she had it. And there's no progress as far as the FDA is concerned in terms of approving new treatments, new medications, and potential new cures. And that frustrates me about the healthcare system, is that it's so backwards in terms of how things are done. I would like to see that change and hopefully see a cure in my lifetime. It shouldn't take 3 generations for that to happen.
So I have 2. One is just in regards to medical billing. I find it laughable that the medical institutions need to send in an inflated bill for the insurance companies to knock it down in order for the actual payment to be rendered, right? It should be normalized and rebaselined, because the problem is we're losing the benefit of quality medical care to administrative and logistic handling, right? Like there's cost being driven into the examiners and the insurance adjusters and all that other stuff, when what I really want is just quality medical care, right? And, the doctor's office that has to have an administrative staff to argue with the insurance companies and then chase the individuals for the difference. That's very different than how our parents lived in their health insurance system, To her point, generationally it's crumbling. And then I would bring it even a little bit closer focus is post-COVID. Our experience as users of the system is either cost or concerns. I don't know what's driving it, but I know we're dealing with this on a almost week-to-week basis. We want to get a new provider and they're not accepting new clients, and their availability for normal functions, not the specialties, is months out. It's a strange response to post-COVID medical care.
Well, it aligns with what I said initially in terms of helping nurses create their own life, be able to handle their own lives and schedules, because many nurses have families and they have small children. And I used to hear about that all the time. As a nurse working in a facility, I had to deal with it myself. So this definitely helps me align with that goal in terms of helping them be able to deal with their own challenges, not have to give up their lives for their jobs. For the same reason, not having the schedule that I wanted, I was always drawn to the business side of healthcare. Being a director, all that gave me an opportunity to work the schedule I wanted to work, which was a Monday through Friday schedule. So yeah, that being on the business side of healthcare was definitely in line with what I'm doing now as well. And I enjoy it more.
I love giving birth to new things.
A little too much.
it's at once, out of a desire to serve her and the entity that we're building together. I did see this as an opportunity for us to grow as a couple because of the context switching that business versus relationship, and we remain committed in regards to our primary relational goals, right? Like we come first, not the business, right? And then you manage that accordingly. But I love giving birth to stuff, and I do foresee the future when this success will breed other success. And so I look at it as like a genealogy of other things have to be given birth to down the line. That's what inspires me. Self-admittedly, I get bored when it comes down to rinse and repeat, T's and C's. And we will do that, right? Whether it's interns or a recruiter or whatever, the Christmas ornaments are on that Christmas tree of a staffing agency, But I'm more interested down the line in regards to what is the wealth let us point our next objective at.
Being able to also do it together helps me with my Parkinson's, just bringing it back there again.
Yeah.
The cognitive things, that challenges that I have, which makes it sometimes difficult at times, even with communication. He knows sometimes what I need in order to move forward. That too is in line with our goal of doing it together, because I don't think I'd be able to do it by myself.
I'm here to protect her and catch her. I know that she's got the passion and she has the will. I know that through this illness, unfortunately, she's fighting certain symptoms that complicate her ability to excel in the way that she remembers doing. And, I am here to help her achieve that same level of success that she would have done 5-10 years ago on her own.
Yeah, literally.